Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced as all things should be. I am your host, Max Mosier, here again. Grateful you're back with us, wherever you're listening, however you're listening. Thanks for making us part of your podcast experience. I'm back from a long hiatus yet again with a dear friend. And if you're a fan of the show, I would like to think personally, this is your favorite duo. I believe we are the Batman and Superman, not Batman and Robin. I think we're Batman and Superman. Mark Jones. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great. I like how you made us both superheroes and you didn't make me a villain. I'm actually very surprised you weren't like Superman and Lex Luthor.
I would have gone more dark side.
Oh, okay. Batman Dark or Superman Dark Side?
Yeah, or Batman and Joker.
Interesting.
Or Granny Goodness.
Ooh, please. Or, Wonder Woman and Chitara or Cheetah? Yeah, whatever.
If I was gonna pick an obscure villain, it would probably be Granny Goodness.
It wouldn't be Condiment Man?
No, it would not. It would not.
It's me, Max the Boy Wonder, and Condiment Man, Mark.
Max the Boy Wonder versus blah, blah, blah.
If I'm Condiment Man, what kind of condiments am I using to fight you?
Mayonnaise for sure, because everybody knows I hate mayonnaise. Ranch dressing, because everybody knows I like it. So you're gonna try to ruin it for me, because that's the kind of guy you are. You're gonna shoot ranch at me first, oh, that's good, but then you're gonna put mayonnaise
psychological.
In it. Yeah, you're gonna break the things I love, and then probably ketchup too, just to make it a hodgepodge.
For sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's good, but we haven't been on in a while. Mark, how you been?
Just living my best life.
One day at a time.
One day. We've had a lot. I don't remember the last time I was on, but we have so much going on in our house right now with like basically renovation stuff because we found mold and in our downstairs bathroom. And then as the people with the mold came to clean up, they found asbestos. So then we had another team have to come up because I live in a house that's like over 100 years old. And then the bat people, we had bats, so we're getting attic restoration now because they got all the bats out. And the guy came and he's like, "Wow, there's way too much. It's like too much." And we had to go get a dumpster, like a big 30-yard dumpster that they're gonna like empty out the attic. So I'm like, thank the Lord, I don't have to do that after once that burden gets passed on to me from my grandparents to then my parent and aunts and uncles. So luckily that's getting done tomorrow. So this week, hopefully, everything gets even keel and nothing else happens.
Yeah, homeownership sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's just a backbreaker to learn that kind.
And it's wild how much stuff costs to replace.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like we found out the mold problem was this pipe that probably has been there for 60 years. Had this giant crack down the middle, so and like just a little bit, so like a little bit water was coming out, so it wasn't super noticeable, but probably was cracked for a good 4 years. And no one lived here for 3 years, so or it could have been longer. I don't know, but
yeah,
wild stuff, everybody.
Super wild stuff.
Buy a new home. Buy a home between 1970 and like 1995. That's what I found out is like a good time.
Yeah,
like those homes are still fairly new, in a sense. They have good wood. Anything built after like 2013 is kind of crap, but it is what it is.
If you could give crypto advice, you can't say Bitcoin or Ethereum. What are you telling people to invest in? Are you telling them to get early in on Doge or early in on Shiba or some other obscure thing that you think is going to go through the moon?
Well, I think unless you have a lot of money, it's going to be kind of hard to get in early on Doge. But I'm still all in on the one we talked about, or you kind of brought to me first and we talked about it, like the Anchor.
No, Cardano.
Or Cardano.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Cardano.
You and I are all in on Cardano.
Yeah, I think Cardano might be a good one, but it's like, I wish with all the house stuff and like, I'm, breaking news, everybody. My beautiful wife, Kelly, and I are expecting a child. So it's not like I have a lot of disposable income now to, invest. But, I got in early on the Shiba when I saw that hit Coinbase. I was like, okay, if it's on Coinbase, it's legitimate. And I invested a lot. And then a few weeks later, it blows up and it's on CNN and, all those in Fox News and all those like news sites, talking about it. So it's like, once they're on that, more people are going to invest in it. So
now you're rich. Look at you.
And then people, like I see people on TikTok, I know you shared one where they're like, oh, market cap, blah blah blah. It's like, sure, right now you can use those numbers. Um, and he's like, oh, listen to me to invest. But then you get stuff like, the Squid Game or whatever had a cryptocurrency, and those investors basically, or the people who started that basically stole from their investors, and now it's
Yeah.
there's whoever bought that stock or cryptocurrency it's like zero. You lost all your money. So
Right. Yeah, that was wild. That was
so
wild.
that's how I feel about investing cryptocurrency. That'd be my advice. I don't know about non-legitimate sites.
We are not out here giving crypto advice.
And I'll give you one advice in investing, people. Don't invest money unless you're willing to lose it. So like if you're like,
Bingo.
if I can give $20 and I'm okay losing $20, invest $20. If it's $10 or nothing, whatever. Just whatever you're comfortable with. But like if you're not comfortable losing $500, don't invest $500.
Absolutely.
Just little advice from my financial background. So
Yeah. Well, there you go. You didn't tune into this episode though to get financial advice. Although
jokes on everybody. It's financial and housing stuff today.
Hi, welcome to Financial and Housing Daily with Max and Mark here on the Infinity Bros podcast. No, you did not tune into that today. Although I believe we are tickling some airwaves this episode, Mark. People probably see Max and Mark are back, so they're hitting the subscribe button. They're freaking out, cat gif on their keyboards because we're back. We are back to talk about two things, albeit a little late, but we're trying to get ahead of the curve because what's coming after this weekend, next week, we will have our Eternals review, the latest Marvel movie. And Mark, I'm going to see it tomorrow. I actually got a special screening for it. In your face, boom, roasted.
Thank you.
I was waiting.
I got nothing to say. Like
I was like, he's gonna say something snarky. I'm waiting.
I've been checking every day when Venom will be released on VOD because I'm at the point where if I want to go see that, I have to drive 2 hours.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And like I'm willing to pay $30 to go watch, watch Venom 2. I'm willing to pay $30 to watch Eternals. But I don't know if I'm willing to drive to go see Eternals. That's not a movie that I'm dying to see, but I kind of need to see for I feel like our communication.
Here's the bit, okay? I have always stood by Rotten Tomatoes. Anybody who listens to our show,
You've been a martyr for Rotten Tomatoes.
I have,
for sure.
and I am now in a conundrum. Mark, Eternals has a 56% Rotten Tomato rating, and
is that viewers or
that
critics?
is 154 reviews. Those are the critics.
Okay, yeah, my bad. It's critics and fans. I forget that's how they do it.
Correct. The audience score is not available yet.
Okay.
So,
do you think it's getting review bombed by the critics, or
no?
Or is it actually just not good?
I think this might be the first bad one. Obviously, we haven't seen it yet,
which is wild coming from a director that just won Best Director.
Yes, I wonder if Marvel bit off a bit more than they could chew on this one. It's a very daunting task to take 10 heroes, especially none of them having any prior engagement in the Marvel.
It would be like if Marvel started off with doing the Avengers movie. No context
I think you're right.
To the characters. It's just like, here's people you kind of know.
Well,
except for Eternals, it's people you really don't know for the common person.
It's really their diverse look on the Avengers too, like, and not just diverse in terms of like, ethnicity. It's diverse, and they're introducing an LGBTQ character, and they're introducing a deaf character and a kid, and
a child. They're letting in a child.
They could let in a child. Yeah. So I'm in a bit of a conundrum here, Mark. I got a special screening, not for the Infinity Bros, just because they were doing a Marvel special locally. Although it would be cool if the Infinity Bros got that. Marvel, if you'd like to let us have that, we take it. So I'm
your special screening. Is it like a work thing or like through the
No,
school?
I put it a link in our group chat. I just found it online. They just did special screenings on Wednesdays.
Oh, gotcha.
On Wednesday for it's the 25 major cities in the United States.
I just go to the one time I got to see a movie before everyone else did, before the midnight showing, was Statesby, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh.
And I got to go because my mom was dating a guy whose company was like a techie company in Fargo, North Dakota, and they got an early screening because they their company paid for it. So,
did they make it?
Did they? What do you mean?
Did your mom and that guy make it?
What do you mean make it?
Like they were dating at the time.
Yeah. What?
Did they get together at the end, or
Well,
did they just end up dating?
I went with her boyfriend. Like it was me and him that went.
Yeah, your mom and her boyfriend make it
I
as
don't
a
know what you're
couple?
trying to do here. I'm
I'm
like
not trying to do
totally
anything. I'm just asking a question.
yes.
Okay, good. Awesome. That's a good memory then. That's all. Why are you trying to stir the pot, Mark? Don't
I
stir the
don't know.
pot.
I don't know what you meant by that question.
I
So
was just asking if they made it, or if it was just like a boyfriend your mom had, and you're like, yeah, I went and we did that with this guy that they're not
I mean,
together
they
anymore.
dated for like 8 years. I mean, he was, you know, during my
Okay.
good, the teen years of a boy. That's pretty influential. He got me into like some music I still listen to, so stuff
Why
like
did you
that.
say it like that? The teen years of a boy. You could have said adolescence. You could have said teenage years, and you chose the teen years of a boy.
Yeah,
Why? Why would you
it's my
say that?
autobiography.
The teen years of a boy. The Mark Jones story. Uh, Before we get into the things we've advertised, we're gonna get to the advertised content, people here. So chill. Mark, are you concerned though, in all seriousness, about this rating from
You know
Eternals?
how I feel about Rotten Tomatoes rating.
I do. That's why I'm asking.
It's jabberwocky. So I just made that word up. That's how I feel
You
about it.
did not. That's a real word.
Is it?
Stop it. That is
Is
a
it?
real word. Yes.
Well, now I'm gonna have to go look it up on the internet just in case I did something bad. Jeez. No, I. It's like super offensive. I'm sorry if it is.
It's not. You're good.
I always like making my own judgment. That's how I feel about a lot of stuff. I get some people, like people who were like maybe casual moviegoers. I mean, I guess that's what they'll probably base it on because they want to pay $20 and see something that other people say is good. Yeah, it'll be interesting what the audience score is. Like, are they gonna get review bombed like Captain Marvel got? Like, is it that bad? That's my
Yeah, for
belief.
you, that's the
Like,
bottom
I want to know
tier
the
is the
audience
Captain
score.
Marvel and the Thor Ragnarok and the Incredible Hulk. For
You
me,
mean you
it's
mean Thor: Dark World?
sorry, did I say Thor Ragnarok? I'm sorry,
You did.
Thor Dark World. Yeah, I apologize. No, I think for me, for it to be bad, it would have to go Thor: The Dark World as well, or Incredible Hulk's not as bad. I actually really like that movie. It's just it gets on the bottom of the list for obvious reasons. I'm interested to see. I will say I read into the 56% and go, I'm worried. I do say I'm worried when I.
To give everyone back to Jabberwocky, apparently it is a term for artificial intelligence, and it's a chat robot.
It is,
So,
but it's also a deranged poem, a messed up poem.
oh, how about that?
Yeah,
I thought I made something
and
up,
it's a dance group
and
from
it's
the
a Dan.
2000s.
Oh, well, look at you. I don't know why you know that, but okay.
Well, don't you remember they were like the big dance group when we were in high school?
In our teen year, in
Jabberwockies.
our
In our
boy teen years.
in the form in the really important years of our boy teen years. Boo.
Yep. That's the TV show name after my Pod Rock before it gets published.
Mark, Max, and the Jabberwockies.
Yep.
No, I am nervous about this, to be honest. I'm fascinated tomorrow to go into this. This is the first MCU movie I've been unsure of because
Mhm.
of this. I am optimistic more so than like going to see a Venom or going to see like Morbius. That trailer just came out too.
That Morbius movie looks so good.
You are really excited about. Well, let's talk about
Well,
that in a sec. We're gonna
well,
talk
let's
about
just say
that
it.
too.
Okay, I want to ask you a question about Eternals. Have you read any of the reviews? I haven't.
I have not. This is the first MCU movie I have not read a single review.
Okay, because my question would have been if you had, is like, what are they saying? What makes it bad? Like, that's
The
my big question.
the only
Is it like the
review,
storytelling is just like
yeah. So
convoluted?
I guess if you count a YouTube, do you count a YouTube video as reading a review?
Sure, if
Okay,
they're
then I have technically
stating their
heard it.
statements
I have
about.
heard a review. So I am a fan of the John Campea show. And he has another guest on who's I forget his name, the individual's name at the top of my head, but they're both big Jack Kirby fans. So for me, I wanted to hear his perspective because this is a love letter to Jack Kirby, is what my understanding of
The movie
just from
is?
the commercials.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that this is going to be a love letter to Jack Kirby because that's obviously the person who created this. And Jack Kirby has a very trippy and specific aesthetic that goes into the comic books he made. And it's beautiful art. And it's,
Maybe that's it. These critics that watched it was too artsy for them.
I don't know. That's a
And it
real
wasn't a
question I
Marvel
have.
movie like they anticipated. They're
Well,
like, this
yeah.
is
And what Campea was saying, Mark, was he's saying exactly what you're saying. He said, for some people, this just isn't going to work, which really surprised me because that means Marvel is saying we're going to make stories we choose. We're not going to go for the wham bam, thank you ma'am, big hits now.
And that's
And
how I got out of the trailers. It wasn't like a, I mean, yeah, there's action in it, but it made it seem more like it's a storytelling type of, drama almost in a sense with some action in it. So, you know,
well, and I think this movie, and I have nothing to back this up, but my gut tells me there's too many people in it for them to connect it to anything else.
hmm,
So like unless it's like a reference to the country of Wakanda,
sure.
I don't see them even like maybe Atlantis gets talked about. I mean, you and I on previous episodes have talked about how they could speak of, Greek mythology. Maybe they go, somewhere to kind of talk about that with Hercules and Zeus and all that.
I think
I
that's who they tie in. I think you're right on that. I don't think we're gonna get a lot of like. I'm sure we'll get like an end credit scene that ties stuff in. I would
sure.
assume.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get touches on, like you said, Greek mythology that brings in Hercules because for the characters they've been bringing in Phase 4, kind of sets up that Hercules is coming. Um, uh, Black Knight is technically a character. That guy is in Eternals who becomes Black Knight, and then you know I made the prediction that Atlantis or Namor was going to get brought up in
You think
Endgame.
we see Namor in this?
I don't know, but I would bet more money that Atlantis gets talked about.
I think Atlantis will get referenced. I think that very well could happen. I think that's a very safe bet. I would feel comfortable doubling down on that.
And I'd even say maybe Moon Knight gets referenced because that
Oh,
that
that'd be
character
cool.
is
Yeah.
ancient technically. The
Yeah.
I forget. Sorry, Jarrett. Don't send Jabberwocky after me. Um,
The computer. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think the 56% is concerning. Um, but Marvel had to put a bad one out eventually. That's kind of
I
what
mean they
I've
already
said that
did
for the
with
longest
Captain
time. They were
Marvel.
going to do a bad one eventually. So, if this is the bad one and that's what they're going to hang their hat on is Chloe Zhao and this cast of, you know, really remarkable actors and actresses, I mean, there's just this truly is a star-studded cast. And so I think I'm very, very excited and optimistic, but I do think there is a realistic chance I come back on here next week and say I didn't like it. I Everybody who knows
Sure,
me knows I do like good artistic cinematography.
you didn't like
However,
WandaVision.
I didn't like WandaVision because of the storytelling. I will say though that I do not like it when it panders or caters more towards the art versus the story.
I get
So
what you're saying. That's
if this
valid.
movie decides to cater more towards the art, and if Zhao cannot get behind making the story the number one piece of the puzzle, then I am gonna have issues.
Well, and remember, Daddy Feige had to sign off on this. I'm
I
assuming. So
agree. I don't see that happening. You just stole the words out of my mouth. I don't see Kevin Feige letting that happen.
yeah. So he saw it and he's probably like, well, this at the end of the day, like he probably thought it was great because that's his job. But I bet at the end of the day, he's like, this progresses the main story we want to tell. So I mean, I'm sure now him seeing these things, he's like, well, people are going to forget about this when these other things happen. So
Yeah. Well, we got a great show for you guys today. How long did it take for us to get to this? 18 minutes for us to get to the hey, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about the hit Netflix show that came out in mid-September. You've had about a month and a half to watch it. Squid Game on Netflix. The show about hundreds of cash-strapped players accepting a strange invitation to compete in children's games inside it with a tempting prize awaiting them with deadly high stakes. They participate in a survival game that has a whopping 45.6 billion with a B won prize at stake. We're going to talk about that show, give our complete spoiler review and rating of it. And then we're going to talk about the things from DC Fandome that were big. And we'll also talk about the Morbius trailer on the back end as well. But we want to make sure that you're familiar with our rating system and how Mark and I rate things on this show. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bumper for that right here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
And then also, we're going to spoil Squid Game. We're going to spoil everything happening in Morbius, the trailer at least. And we might spoil some of the DC Fandome stuff you see.
in all
So
fairness, I mean, they're trailers, so it's not like we're spoiling stuff.
I know, but
Squid
some
Game, I
people
understand.
consider it a spoiler, so I'm just going to give you the warning right here.
This is
Prepare yourself.
an Infinity Bros
Prepare yourself.
spoiler warning.
No, I'm with you, Mark. I think it's ridiculous. I think people are like, I can't believe you're talking about what's in the trailer. It's like, no, you don't listen to podcasts then. Stay off the internet. Just don't do it. Let's talk about Squid Game first. I gave the synopsis earlier. Crazy, incredible cast from the perspective of the South Korean actor world is what my understanding is. These are not like my thoughts. Apparently, just reading up on this, the creator of Squid Game took 10 years to develop this bad boy. It was rejected by so many media companies and so many different actors. And it's just fascinating how this movie got made. The phone number used in the series, Mark, was actually used as a real phone number too.
Yeah,
the only difference was that it had 8 digits in the series, while the real numbers in South Korea always had 10. So when the callers dialed that number, their phones automatically added the prefix 010, which turned it into a real number. And as a result, the owner of it was called more than 4,000 times a
Wild.
day. And they had to alter the number actually in the show. Within just 28 days after airing, Mark, this show pulled 111 million viewers, surpassing Bridgerton to be the most watched Netflix original series ever. This is their best Netflix original series of all time. And last but not least, LeBron James received criticism from the creator of Squid Game when he articulated that he did not like the ending. And the Squid Game creator said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but go make your own damn TV show. Mark, before we dive into our obviously spoilers of like the ending and talking about the specific minute details of the show, can you just give me your broad strokes idea of how you felt of this show, what your rating is, and do you think it was living up to the hype that you had received going into it?
Well, I like how I got introduced to this. I was on TikTok, so here's 21st century marketing, and it was the first episode, the red light, green light scene. I'm like, no way, this is a show. And then I find it on Netflix, watched the whole thing, and it just got like crazier and crazier. It felt like, and yeah, it's kind of like Hunger Games meets Saw. That's how I felt about it. So,
what's your rating of it?
Oh, a 6 out of 6. This is some like new-ish that was, apparently felt a lot like, made a big impression on a lot of people, with tons of viewings of it. But I don't know, it was something new, something different. Technically a foreign film. I watched it, I forget what it's called, not sub, dubbed. And some people said, I remember this, one person told me that I should watch it dubbed with the subtitles, and it's them just speaking
without
Korean, because like
without the English being spoken.
Yeah, because like the inflections kind of come off differently, I was told. But it's like I felt like I got a pretty good looking at their facial expressions versus like sometimes the English translation or the actor didn't really kind of give the same passion like the actor on the screen did. But overall, 6 out of 6. I mean,
were you, before I get into my review, just since we're on the subject of watching the show, were you taken aback by the style of acting in South Korea? Because they're a little more dramatic with their facial expressions, it feels like, from my perspective, in almost a caricature way, especially the main character played by Lee Jung-jae. And I just think that threw me off a little bit when you talk about the dub. Did that affect your viewing of it?
No, and I don't know if this helps at all, but this made me think of this because it's a little over the top sometimes. But I watched there was a period in college where like I watched like Korean and Japanese films, and I've watched New Japan Wrestling, where it's like that's kind of, I feel like, is a lot going on there, where it's like more over the top, especially in the wrestling aspect of it, where it is a lot more showmanship, I feel like. So
Right.
So I get it. But yeah, I think it's just a different style, and it's probably catered. I'm sure that's the people of those countries, or especially South Korea, probably like that's what they expect. I don't know, but maybe that's normal to us, where it's like it seems a little more campy, almost. I guess
Yeah,
might be someone's
campy's a
opinion,
good. That's a great way to.
but I never
Yeah.
felt like it was corny or like not warranted though. So because I felt like the main character was kind of super dramatic already, so it's like, of course, this person would act like this, but
No, I agreed. I also am going to give this a 6 out of 6. This bad boy floored me, Mark. What's really funny is our friend group, the Infinity Bros, are the 6 of us that are on this show that have the revolving time. You know, we're on Twitch and all these different networks, so you can check out. It's not just us; we have other great personalities and Zane. And
and the rest.
I too found out about this through TikTok, and for me, I am not a fan of reading in subtitles in other languages. I prefer to read in subtitles if I have a hard time hearing the English of what they're saying. Or like when I watch Ted Lasso, I'll watch it with the subtitles. Just sometimes the way they're speaking is just a little too slurred for me. And I had gone back and forth personally with how I was going to watch this. I really am glad I chose to listen to it in English and read it in English because the facial expressions were very dramatic for me. They were over the top, but it doesn't change my viewing experience from the perspective of this story. This is such a great original story, and I feel like we're in an era right now where game show reality shows, those were a big hit in the 2000s and late 90s, right, Mark? And so those were all over TV. I mean, I think of in the Asian culture, I think of Ninja Warrior, and just these really really massive, grand scale, big, awesome, amazing competition shows. And what would it be like to put people's lives on the line? And I think this show really does a great job of talking about that. And where this show for me really earned its 6 out of 6 rating was halfway through episode 2 when everybody left
Oh
the
yeah,
building. That is where
I thought
this
that was
show
wild.
earned
It's
it.
like they have to get back in there somehow.
Yeah, that blew my mind. It blew my mind because the first scene I saw of this was the tug of war scene. So I had already known that the main character was going to at least get to that point. I did not know the old man or anything else. I knew that the old man would be there as well because I knew he was the one explaining things. And so for me, that's where this show earned the 6 because one, I'm watching the red light, green light scene, and it's haunting how many people died. It was a massacre. It was a mass shooting on a TV show, is what it was. They showed a mass shooting, and they did it very eloquently. They did it in what I would perceive as much of good taste as you can have in a horror type of TV show. But I don't even know if I'd call this show horror, Mark. I would call this a thriller drama
Yeah, that's what
still.
I wouldn't. Yeah,
I really, really enjoyed this. What did you think of the individual competitions? Which one was your favorite, or how things transpired was your favorite?
you're asking me which one is my favorite
Yeah, which one
competition.
did you like watching people die the most, Mark? Just answer the question.
Definitely not red light, green light. That was I would definitely not want to do that. The one that looked most terrifying was one of the last ones with the glass that could
Oh my
break.
goodness.
Um, I think the only one I would have liked to do is the candy one.
The candy one was the one that I was most nervous about.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was nervous, but when he started licking it, I was like, "Oh, that's smart. That's how you dissolve the sugar." But gosh, I mean, I can't like. Could you? Oh, like they did the shooting one on purpose first because that's what would probably eliminate the most people. But the tug of war, like that, but I don't remember what episode that was. But that's when we first get introduced to the VIPs and all that. It's like, of course, this is like some billionaires, way of entertainment
Mark, for you,
as Mark
knowing
Rosen says, multimillionaires, only get off by winning. So
they do. So, Mark, you are the kind of person that really, really loves a good conspiracy
If you're asking me
theory.
if this actually happens in real life, I bet it does.
That's not what I'm asking.
Not to the scale of Squid Game, but I'm sure it happens.
How giddy were you that this was the backstory of this? Like, it had to just be just warm.
And not only like that, but like it went back like 20 years. Like
Yeah.
they had kept documents of this because that's how like crazy these people are.
Yeah. When he was thumbing through the documents of all the different people that did it, I was busting a gut because I was just laughing because I was like, Mark is totally going to love watching this because this is just right up his alley. This whole premise of this show is right up his alley of just big conspiracy theory, taking the poorest of the poor and helping one or three,
Or
one
not
of them
even the
get
poorest
rich.
of the poor, the desperate too. Like, some of those, like his friend is, this he graduated from CMU or whatever it was, or CNU, and huge financial guy, but happened to be super in debt because he tried to steal money, embezzle money, something like that. I don't
Well,
remember off
probably a
the top
little
of my
bit of everything. He was committing some form of
head.
fraud, was
Yeah,
my understanding of it. I mean, even the old man who essentially was behind the scenes making all the pieces move on the board, he was in it because he wanted the thrill.
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
just crazy. We'll talk about the ending here in a little bit more. Um, did you? Well, I would love to know your theory. You're a great theorist on this show. You always come up with great theories. What theory are you subscribing to right now of the pink coats? The anybody who is wearing a mask that had a symbol of a circle, triangle, or rectangle. What is your theory around what those people are doing, why they're there, and who they are?
Honestly, I didn't think about that. I feel like the people who have guns might be hired people because you want someone who probably knows how to use a gun. But like they had people who were serving food, making food, so they might be like indentured servants or slaves in a way, where like they might owe some of these people money, and this is one way they could pay it back.
One theory I've read online is that at the beginning of the episode, when the guy who's playing that game with the main character on the street, the one where
Yep.
they're throwing the piece of paper,
Or in the subway, right?
the subway, yeah, the two
Yep.
colors of the papers they have are blue and red.
Yep.
And the theory goes that if you're blue, you choose to play in the game, and if you're red, you're choosing to work behind the scenes. Would you subscribe to that idea?
So like that's how they determine who, like maybe there's some more to that, like psychologically, like people who pick blue are more strapped for cash. People who pick red are just not as much. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, there has to
Like
be some I mean, that was just the
I
reason.
like that
Yeah.
theory, where that's how they. But then, how much money do you offer someone to do that job, and then potentially have to kill somebody
I mean, it's
or drug
the game.
somebody?
The game itself is pretty traumatic enough. I mean, it's killing somebody too, right?
Well, if you didn't know that's what you signed up for,
Fair. That's a good point.
just like the people who were in that red light green light game.
Dude, the red light, green light scene is the craziest one of all. It still to me is the craziest of the six.
Oh
And
my
the
gosh,
Squid
coming
Game
back.
itself at the end, the Squid Game itself at the end is just just a
The
character scene. That's not
the
even really a
game
game.
I think I would have hated the most. I'm coming back to this. Is the one where they starved them and made them fight in the middle of the night. That would
That
have been the
wasn't
most.
even a game. That was just like
They
a
counted that as a game,
strategy.
didn't they?
No,
I thought they counted that as one of the games.
they didn't count it as a game, but they counted it as a strategy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, they starve them and just take away a little bit of food and pit them against each other, and all of a sudden things go south. Again, this is just like a character study on humanity, which is like all that stuff's right up your alley, Mark.
I kind of want them. Yes, it is. I agree with you. I would kind of like to see an American version of this, like maybe not necessarily. It's still like done by the same people, but they use Americans instead.
I
Because
think
I feel like
that should be Netflix's sequel.
Sure, where
And I
there's like,
think
oh, they do
yeah,
this in every continent. So
yeah, I think it should be Netflix's sequel, excuse me, and Lee Jun-jae's character of Sung Gyun.
is like the guy who wears the black mask.
Yeah, or
For this one.
he makes some appearance at some point in the show and is part of it. How hard were you cheering for the cop in this one too? Let's talk about the
Oh my
cop real
gosh,
quick.
I was
Wong
hoping
Joon-ho.
I was hoping he would, like I just expected like he would bust this whole thing up, and that's not necessarily the case.
Well, and to find out that his brother was the guy was not really a huge that didn't feel like a huge. That was pretty easy to call from the get-go.
Yeah. But
But I felt like he was
wild.
gonna stop it all.
Yeah, that's what I kind of expected, but kind of, what makes a show like this good or something new like this is it doesn't play to the tropes that you expect in TV and movies.
What did you think of the betrayal of Ali Abdul with the marbles?
Oh my gosh. I knew that CSer was gonna screw that guy over
100%.
when he put that stuff on the ground, then oh man. I just knew it was I'm just happy that he ended up killing himself at the end. That's how I feel about that.
You have a strong opinion.
Yeah.
And I am here for it. What did you think of the ending of this, Mark? Were you satisfied with the ending that the old man came back, obviously makes the additional game gamble with Sung Jeon, and bets over the poor man on the street's life, and ends up losing, ends up dying? How did you feel about that ending? Did you feel like that was sufficient? And like he doesn't even get on the plane to go back and see his daughter in the States, which I just felt was just like I couldn't stand. I will say that the main character is very difficult for me to cheer on, but again, I give this show a 6 because you nailed it. Every time I expected it to zig, it zagged. The only time it did what I thought it was going to do was with the cop finding his brother, but I did not anticipate him dying. So I think this show did a tremendous job in that, and the answers were sufficient to me. But the ending was frustrating from the perspective of how open-ended it was, but it was also nice that if they do want to keep it self-contained, it can stay in this one season and live on.
Yeah, and that's very true. But how I felt about the ending, like I was just kind of like, yeah, it was a choice the director, writer made. I mean, I guess you could come back and be like, maybe LeBron James is right, but it's like, what were you gonna do? Like, you wanted to set up for a sequel. Sometimes you don't need to set up for a sequel, and you just let that happen organically later on. But yeah, it just probably gave us the ending we didn't want, and that's probably how some people feel about that. But
yeah,
artist
the
choice.
ending. I think the ending. I think this one's allowed to have whatever ending it wants. It's a pretty original concept, even with like things like the Hunger Games and Saw have already been made. I think that's
or like the world's
perfect description.
Most dangerous game, where it's like hunting humans. It's
yeah, exactly. Those concepts have been around. I think this one is unique enough, and it
told a compelling
survive.
story within all of this chaos, and I think that's what made it also very good. Where you're like rooting for this guy to get out because you're like, okay, this dude gets money, he can make his life better, make his mom better, can financially support his child, or at least give money to that. But it's like or finds what was it one of what was her one of the main ladies who got to the final 3, she had a brother, right? From like the brother giving him a good Korea. Home and money. So
yeah, I agree. If you haven't watched Squid Game yet, we would recommend it. You do get an Infinity Snap on this episode. I will say this, and this
it is for mature audiences only.
I will agree. It's mature audiences only. This movie, show is a show that I recommend you watch individually or with somebody that can handle some small scenes of nudity, but also some gory imagery.
Was there small
well
scenes
at
of
the
nudity?
end at the end with the rich people.
Yep. Yes, I now.
And if you're hearing our review, I mean, we've spoiled a little bit, but to be honest,
not a lot.
There's some stuff that we haven't said that's in this. And one thing before we move on to our next topic, Mark, is I think this is one of the few shows that actually leans into its culture, and its culture makes it better. The South Korean culture brings this show to life in a way that I don't think any other culture could do. So that's why the United States portion, some people, including myself, have said they should consider that. There's also a part of me that's like, well, is it going to work as well? Because
I mean, there's that. And like bringing it back to what you brought up, it's like a good, what do you say again? Not character study, but like kind of social
humanity study.
There you go. where it's like that's the reason why I want to see an American version. It's like how would 400 and some Americans deal with this? Like there'd be a group of people that just felt entitled. There'd be a group of people that didn't care about anybody. Like kind of the same. Like I just feel like I would like that aspect of it, seeing how the American culture of these people would react to this situation. Just like we
Because
got
the
with the South
Korean
Koreans.
culture is significantly more about elders. It's
Yep.
significantly more about the pack.
Yep.
Like the fact that they let the pack vote. That just, it felt like in this show, these characters were like, yeah, that makes complete sense. In an American concept, while we say we're a democracy, that isn't how things are necessarily decided at times.
Yep.
And so I just wonder if, I agree with you. I wonder if it gets to those kinds of scenes, how Americans are
I
responding.
just feel like in that situation when we got to the voting thing, I think the vote would be they stay. Like that's how I feel like that would go.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's how it would have been. I think that's exactly how it would have been. It'll be interesting. So check out Squid Game on Netflix if you haven't yet. Mark, DC Fandome came out. Tons of stuff happened. Let's talk about the broad scope, and then we'll talk about the details that obviously are important. Black Adam trailer. We got a sneaky, electrifying sneak peek. Mark, ooh,
Yeah.
Black Adam, spooky. We finally got a scene in it. Maybe they'll give us a movie. Grant Gustin's
10
The
years
Flash.
later.
I know. Grant Gustin's The Flash is getting gold shoes.
Yeah. What do you want?
I just thought it was very funny that was their big like thing. That was like my favorite when I was waiting like everybody else for the Batman trailer, and they did the gold boots. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I openly said that. I was like, "That's what we're excited about."
Yep.
The gold boots, and I 100% believe, Mark, there are DC fan guys out there like, yeah, it was time.
Yeah, we finally got it.
We did it. We can keep going now. Yeah. Aquaman and Lost Kingdom. We got to see a couple of scenes behind the scenes, with Jason Momoa and that's coming out December 16th, 2022. Milestone Media. This is a very underrated piece of information in this. There was a very good chunk of time dedicated to this. Obviously, a new partnership with Ally was announced as the first program of the next generation DC, a new venture created to develop the next generation of comic book artists, writers, colorists, editors, and more. Dennis Cowan and Reggie Hudlin chatted with Echo Kellum about every aspect of Milestone and announced several upcoming Milestone projects, including a Milestone animated feature in development by Warner Brothers Animation and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, new seasons of Static, Hardware, and Icon and Rocket, the return of Blood Syndicate. I believe if Jarrett was on here, he would be geeking about that.
I really thought you were going to say Bluntman Chronic, and I was like, how did I miss that?
No, maybe not. And a 1,300-page softcover compendium collection, classic Milestone runs of Static, Icon, Hardware, and more. Obviously, the Blood Syndicate one's the big one because that was a pretty short, limited series. If you're a comic book fan, you're going to be very familiar with that. And it's just cool to see that come back. We are big fans of Static on this show. If you've listened for a while,
it's wild. As you say that, it's like I'm not as. Let me rephrase that. I never became a fan. I don't dislike it, but I feel like that might have missed my teen boy years, where it just
those formidable teen boy years.
Yeah, I every time I hear about Static and people who are around my age love it, it's how did I miss that show? How did that one just not come into my spectrum and fall in love with? And I've gone back and watched it. And I was I could see if I saw this as a teen boy,
Static
I would have
Shock
loved it.
Was phenomenal as a kid. Just
I kind of hope he shows up in a movie eventually. They could bring him in. Well, he's also sometimes portrayed in the future. So
I would welcome Static Shock in any context.
I think you could throw him into the Blue Beetle show or movie.
Yeah, Static would be great in any context.
Yeah.
Suicide Kill the Justice League. We got a kind of good official trailer for that.
Yep.
Get some behind the scenes of how it looks. Excuse me. We finally get to see them go against the Justice League, and that was pretty crazy. Any thoughts on that, Mark? Is this a game that you're I have to buy it day one, or are you cautious on it? How are you looking at the Suicide Squad trailer?
I with anything video game related, it's I don't have time. I don't have time now. I'm gonna have time when I have a child.
You're about to have a koala climbing
Yeah.
all over
Like
you.
I bought a Switch and I've barely played that a while back. And I have no intention of buying a PS5 because the only games I ever play on PlayStation now are either Fortnite or
Rocket League, baby.
Rocket League. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
I thought the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer.
To answer your question though,
Yeah, no,
if I knew I was gonna have time for it, I'd buy it day one. So there you go.
I will give the trailer itself a 5 out of 6.
Yes, I want to see that show. Like you should make me a
Yes.
show of that, and I will devote time to that.
That's a great
while
way to
I
put it.
Take care of my child in the future.
I think the game is just not the avenue that I'm looking for it in. The concept is great. I'm excited about it, and I want it to do well.
Yeah,
it just isn't a game for me, probably. And I'm like you. I only have so much time for video games, and I don't think that's the video game I want to spend my time playing.
As what stings in my head now and forever, when I, earlier this year, like in the beginning and end of last year, just had time to watch a bunch of shows, and Scott Higa of said that, once you have a child, you're gonna have time for that, and you're gonna have to, really, basically plan out your time. And I'm just thinking, like, damn, that he's right. He's right.
Today
now,
episode,
now I cry every night to sleep thanks to Scott.
Today on this episode of the Infinity Bros podcast, Mark is having an existential crisis about being a father. Join us as we dive into his psyche
and his madness.
The Peacemaker trailer, Mark. I know you loved this.
I don't know what it is. Like, to give some context to this, I didn't watch wrestling when John Cena was like huge and like a superstar for the company. I kind of got it at like the tail end of his like main roster run, and now he's more of a part-timer. But I love him in pretty much everything he's done in movies. And this might be his perfect role for him, and just how he delivers his acting. It just feels so genuine, and I love it. I want more. I kind of hope this is a post, like he survived the last Suicide Squad movie, and we just get more of him with more characters down the road.
Definitely. That's exactly what's happening, in my opinion. Him with the bald eagle was the best part of the whole trailer.
Yes.
That was hilarious. 5 out of 6 because this is like Deadpool for me. I like Deadpool. Do I love Deadpool? No, I do not, because you
don't like grotesquity and over the top
dick jokes. The dick jokes.
And that you don't like good humor.
Yeah, like the fake masturbation, goofy thing.
I get
when
it.
You're looking at each
the
other.
teen boy humor.
Stupid. That's stupid to me. It's not funny. It's funny when other people try to one up each other. So like the scene with him and Deadshot in
You mean Bloodsport?
Bloodsport, forgive me. Wait, what's his name?
I don't remember the character's name. I know it's Idris Elba who plays him. So.
Whatever, Idris Elba's character.
But Bloodsport's his like villain name. So.
Yeah, whatever. So when those two are doing their little shoot off, that was tremendous. And they kill everybody, and then you find out those are the good guys. Tremendous.
That was tremendous. Again,
tremendous.
Just like Squid Game, making, like you said, zigs when you thought it was gonna zag, or reverse of that. And then we just get there, and Randall Flagg's being taken care of, and the whole crew's dead.
Yeah. Mark, another thing that came out of this, and this is a little political and a little controversial.
Are we even going to get political on this podcast? We're going to get
a little political. If you want, you don't have to. You can say no comment. Superman is moving on from the American way in his tagline. It is now truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. That was announced at this event.
Yeah.
Comments about that. Are you, as a DC fan, feeling that the American way is a quintessential piece of his puzzle that needs to be articulated?
I don't know. That's hard to say. Like, instantly, like my dark humor wants me to go like, the let's go whatever. And that's not my political affiliation either way. If you know me well, I like to be in the middle to play devil's advocate, or Mephisto's advocate, to cater to the Infinity Bros universe. But I get both sides. I get the side of DC. It's like, well, we're going to brand to everybody, the whole world. It's like, it's kind of hard to brand overseas if your character is like, Truth, Justice, and the American Way versus, better tomorrow. Everyone can get behind a better tomorrow. Not everyone can probably get behind the American way. Sorry, folks. That's how it is.
That's a great point.
So they're being inclusive. So
you're speaking from the everybody can get behind this phrase.
Yeah. But what I kind of gets devolved for me, it's like, well, he's he's in Smallville, Kansas. So he's, technically has American citizenship. So like at what point, like I would love a story where it kind of like I would love to see his internal workings where like the character Clark Kent, born in America, goes away from saying American way to a better tomorrow. Like I would love that story to make him like, why is he no longer, siding with America on something where he's like, America's still important to my heart, but it's not the way that the world should be.
Yeah.
Give me that. I'd love a story like that. But I'm not going to complain if they just keep pumping out content and not going away. Next few years they'll do something different and so on and so forth. So people who get butthurt over this stuff, eventually they're going to go tell a different story. So there it is.
Yeah, I actually think you eloquently just spoke that, which surprises me a little bit. I fully agree with you on something. I think I beat for beat align with you on that.
Sure.
DC's League of Super Pets. This was out of left field.
I heard about this prior to Fandome, but go on.
I didn't know about this at all. This was old news to me. Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Vanessa Baker, John Krasinski, Diego Luna,
and
Natasha Lyonne, Kate McKinnon, and Keanu Reeves will play.
Star-studded cast.
That is a star-studded cast as far as our show is concerned. Animated, I think it's great. That's 6 out of 6. I'll be there day one.
Animated superhero animals from their superhero pets, right?
Yeah,
like that's
sign me up.
Yeah, I'm all for it. And it's, it's be something great that I can watch with my new child.
We got a first look at Injustice. Have you watched the Injustice movie yet?
I have not because I forgot I had Long Halloween? I got those.
Yeah.
I watched that and I watched them and then I just ran out of time to watch.
Quick rating of those.
I had initially had a difficult time kind of grasping the animation and kind of the storytelling they're going with it. But I'd still give it a 5.5 out of 6 because I went to like, okay, they took an artistic choice to kind of make it kind of look like the comic book come to life, more so than like the moving comics that you can see online. But I love the Long Halloween story, so I thought they did a good job.
Yeah,
and what's his name from Supernatural did the voice right for Batman in that, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Jensen Ackles.
And I'm like, he's the new Batman.
He's great.
If they do another like long, I think they're bringing back the animated series, but if they did another like cartoon series of like 4 or 5 seasons with him as Batman, that'll be young kids generations, Conroy. So
I really agree with that. That would be blasphemy to some people, but I really agree with that.
That's how I felt. I was like, he did a great job. Like,
I agree.
He convinced me he was Batman. So
David Dastmalchian has been in a lot of projects lately. Like he's been in Dune, MCU, DCU. He plays Calendar Man in this.
Again,
Josh
has a great
Duhamel is
agent.
Harvey Dent. Troy Baker has obviously been playing the Joker in a couple different projects.
Yep.
Naya Rivera died after this came out.
Yep.
She was originally Catwoman. I really liked this too. I actually am going to say the part 1 for me was better than part 2.
I feel the opposite. I like part 2 better, but
yeah, I liked part 1 a lot better. I also agree the style of art was very difficult to grasp onto to start. But man, if I did not like the way part 1 ended, I thought it was a great spot for it to end and then pick right back up. But the Poison Ivy stuff was a really tremendous, smart idea. And
did you ever watch The Dark Knight Returns, like part 1, part 2?
Oh yeah.
That's why I felt with like I loved how that ended. I thought they did a great job, like because these weren't released at the same time, so like you had to wait, and it's like it was a great ending. Made you really think that you wanted to, like I instantly went and watched the part 2 because I watched
Injustice was good too. I watched Injustice. I really liked that. I gave it a 5 out of 6.
Didn't like it, so that was my worry. So I'm like, I gotta watch this. So
the ending is interesting.
Is it anything like the game or the comic book?
No, it well, yes and no. It sidesteps it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
so that's you literally stole the question that everyone has, is because the ending, it's kind of open-ended because Injustice is still kind of going, and the games, there's 2 parts of those games. So
and there's a third one I think coming out soon. So.
Exactly. So
or
just
they're in development.
I liked it. They do one character gets, you see their, super special move from the
Sure.
game. That's really cool. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I like it. If you're a fan of Injustice, I think it's good.
There it is.
Gotham Knights will wear the Court of Owls. Mark, this is the highest of 6s. This is the game that I have to buy after watching this.
Like this is one like another game, and like anything that's DC related for video games, like I really want to get. Like I don't like fighting video games, but I've purchased and played the Injustice games. But
You
yes,
played the Batman Arkham Knight games.
yeah, I played them. Yes, but I'm just saying this is basically going to be one of those games. Like, am I correct? Isn't it kind of going to be like
Yes.
Arkham Knight, but with Nightwing,
Yeah, that's
Batgirl,
exactly
and Robin?
what it's going to be.
Or no,
Yeah,
they're doing Red Hood, right? Not Nightwing.
Yeah, Red Hood, Robin,
Yeah.
Batwoman. I think this has looked tremendous. 6 out of 6. I
And
like how
Court
they're
of
giving them.
Owls,
Yeah,
like,
Court of Owls. Let's go. Like
come on.
that's probably in the last 15 years the best comic book story, Marvel or DC. That's
I
come
just
out.
love the whole like secret society, like
Yeah. Again,
conspiracy that's behind it.
Mark, that caters to your.
I know that's why I love. I'm agreeing with you. That's why I love.
That's your bit.
Court of Owls, like as
Yeah,
villain.
Court of Owls is right beyond.
Yeah.
Anything Court of Owls. I think Court of Owls is where DC should be going in real life anyway.
I think they're doing that. I think that's going to be in the Batman movie. I
It would
strongly
be
believe
great
we're gonna get like little sprinkles of it. Like it's not going to be a Court of Owls. Like cross my fingers. Maybe if it is, but I think that's what we're going to get because that's kind of how I feel like Court of Owls kind of needs to start is in young Batman's life, and then come back when he's older. That's how I like it.
It would be really cool to see Court of Owls expand past Gotham.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see it go into other. I want that to be the rallying piece for the DC universe. That's what I want. And then you can go to the big things like Darkseid.
If Warner Bros. Would call me up and let me be their Kevin Feige, I would make them billions of dollars.
That would get it done.
They just plan.
Titan Season 3, Batman Cape Crusader, Young
Is the
Justice,
Cape Crusader,
Phantoms.
is that another animated movie or are they doing a comic book? I forget.
It's a comic book.
I like that stuff. I like when they've done that. Like the Cape Crusader, when they used Adam West Batman and did their like animation movies and that. I like that.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods is coming out. They talked a little bit about that.
And Zach Levi looks ripped.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth.
I
know there's Isaac and Robbie are big fans of Sweet Tooth. You and I are not as much.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. Right, that's the on Netflix, and like I never got back to it.
Nope.
But I've been thinking I need to get back to it because it's like that seemed like something that I would also enjoy.
Oh,
but
we have to talk about the thing that you care most about though from this, Mark.
Well, what's that?
Pennyworth, the TV show.
Yep, can't wait.
Season 3.
Let's give. Isn't that coming to HBO Max? So like maybe I can actually watch it.
That is. It is
not on Epic.
The show you didn't ask for that there's still. Imagine all the shows that didn't get past season 1, and we have a Pennyworth season 3.
It's probably cost effective. I'm sure it's like cheap to make, and it does good enough ratings where like, this makes us money.
Yeah, and they want to put it in. They want to put it make the DC universe multiverse bigger. That's their thought.
Well, it's just a thought. Like, you make as much content, and you really only need like 20% of it to stick to really make money. So
that is the Netflix way. But in all reality, the big one that everybody was talking about is the Batman trailer, the almost 3-minute trailer that came out.
Oh, in all honesty, are we not going to touch on the Flash?
We'll talk. Oh, do you want to talk about Flash or Batman?
Let's talk about Flash first, because I feel
let's talk about Flash because I think Batman's a little bigger. You're right. Let's talk about
Batman's a little bit bigger, but I feel at the scope of things, the Flash movie might be a little bit bigger in that sense.
The Flash movie is so interesting to me, and we've talked about this a couple times. But
we're gonna get like 8 Batmans in that movie. Come on.
Yeah, here is where I just have some issues. Isn't the right word. I have some caution when it comes to this movie.
Go on.
I think it's the same issue I have right now with Spider-Man No Way Home. Where are they going with it? You can make a multiverse happen, but where you go with it is my big dilemma, because you kind of can't get any bigger than the multiverse after that. You either need to close some boxes up, destroy some boxes, or erase boxes.
Well, in all fairness, when the DC animated universe started their first, they started with the Flashpoint movie. and they went 10 years and like 14 films and told a great story. So there's that.
But can they do that on the big scale with the DC?
Well, they got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, sure, do this, and maybe you bring in like Crisis of Infinite Earths type of situation where you close in all the characters you kind of want in one universe. So could do
Having
that.
multiple
It might
flashes is an interesting like dilemma
yeah.
too, because
And it's also cost effective. You don't have to hire another person. You already got Ezra Miller.
that's true, right? I mean, having multiple flashes is super interesting to me. Having one of the flashes suit made out of Batman's
Mhm.
garb is interesting.
I do feel
Obviously,
like
the big story in this though is Michael Keaton, though. Mark, I
I
mean,
think that's where I think they're doing like not necessarily. Obviously, I don't think they're doing the exact Flashpoint movie like they kind of originally said they were going to do, but I think they're doing like an adjacent to that, where maybe the Batman he goes to is the Michael Keaton Batman in his world.
yeah.
And maybe something crazy has happened where he's willing to go back in time and help fight or do whatever to rectify his situation or the situation of the universes or multiverse or whatever. So
Is this going to be the same character from Snyder's Justice League, you think?
the Flash that we're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, or do you
Yes.
think it's going to be like a Flash that's a little like more serious?
I think we're going to get our Flash. Because that's kind of Flash's thing, is where he's not serious. So
I hope so. That's why I'm asking.
and we got in the Snyder cut more of that he can go back in time. So I think they kind of carry that off. You kind of need.
You mean
use
the best scene in that whole?
Yes, the best.
You mean the
scene.
best scene?
Yes,
up to
but that's what I'm
date
saying. I think
in-
that's why he's going to be from
Yeah.
that universe, because that's who we got. And I think in some way Warner Brothers still wants to connect all these, because they're going to make another Wonder Woman movie, and they're making another Aquaman. They're making more Shazam. Black Adam's like, you got Dwayne Johnson playing a superhero or supervillain or whatever, who's probably going to become a hero at some point. You got all these characters. You don't want to just let this universe go away. So
multiverse
or multiverse, DC does better.
Yeah, I thought
I'm gonna be
the Flash
disappointed if Grant Gustin as Flash doesn't show up in this movie.
He'll be in it
because Ezra Miller in the movie suit showed up on the Flash. So
I agree. I'm with you. I think Gustin's. You don't open that box to have Gustin not swing by. And if you're going to have multiple Flashes,
And it
why
could
would
be
you
one
not
scene.
have Gustin stop by?
Yeah. And what if we're going to get Ben Affleck Batman, Michael Keaton Batman? What if they throw Christian Bale Batman in there? Maybe we
Do
get a
you
little
think
George
we'll
Clooney
get?
Batman.
Do you think Affleck Batman's showing up in this?
I thought he didn't. Yes, they've talked about him being on set and being emotional in the Batman suit.
No, I didn't know.
Come on, this is why I'm a little more pumped for this movie as a whole. But as trailer wise, I thought the Batman one gave me more chills. But
the Flash trailer was very, very meh. 3 out of 6.
Yeah, I would say I would give it 4 out of 6. Like, it gave you a little taste, but not a quenching taste.
Yeah, but you know what really, really tickled my fancy?
Yeah, poured a bucket of water on me after
This Batman trailer was something else, Mark.
It's emo Batman, the Batman we all deserve.
This is the Batman. This is closest.
Is Teen Boy Batman.
Yeah, this. This is the Batman, the closest Batman I can think of to the animated Batman.
For sure.
I think this is it. I think that's why I like it so much. This feels close to my animated Batman.
And I just remember when people said, oh, they're casting Robert Pattinson, they're casting the vampire as Batman, Bruce Wayne. I was like, this dude's going to probably be the best Bruce Wayne we're going to get and the best Batman we're going to get, because this dude's an actor and he goes all in. And if you saw that, the movie that came out last year with him and David Washington, right?
Tenet.
Tenet, yeah. Like, that's basically the little taste we got of him kind of as,
yeah,
as an action guy. So
yeah, there's a lot I'm going to talk about in this show. We've been going for an hour, so we're going to probably skim through some big details. So if you're listening right now and you want to talk more, keep the conversation going. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Infinity Bros.
Or find us on Discord.
Yeah, I guess you could check out Discord too, or Twitch.
Max won't be there, but the rest of us will.
Well, now that football season is over, I'm forced to go back into those spheres now. I don't have the excuse of not being in them. So you actually will be seeing me on Twitch very soon. Mark, but here's a couple things that I love. I love Pattinson Batman. I love Circus Alfred. I think it's great. I'm all in on it. This is a
If
Batman.
he was an actor in Pennyworth, I'd probably watch it.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. This is a Batman that's gonna kick your butt and break your arm if you steal from the old lady down
And
the
then
road.
break your heart too.
Yes, and then break your heart. Catwoman, Chloe. Yeah, I'm all in. How they're shooting him and their bullets are just bouncing off. Get out of here!
It's an homage
Get out of here! I love
to
it.
Christian Bale in Dark Knight Rises.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, and just the Batmobile and the Riddler being actually a scary.
Well, we don't know if
menacing
he's actually the
presence?
Riddler. That's the whole like
I think
theory
it's
is like, is he not the Riddler? Is he like someone who inspires the Riddler? I've heard rumors that guy's actually going to be, it's like a secret Joker, or he's part of the Court of Owls. I've heard everything, but yeah, there's so much.
I think it's the Riddler. I don't think they would put the question mark if it wasn't.
It's a swerve.
But
I mean,
you're right. It could be. They could zig when we zag.
Yeah,
But
and
the
that's how you
Penguin
make
being in it, Penguin being in it with Colin Farrell is great. I love it. Catwoman and
I mean, this is a great.
yeah.
Come back to Colin Firth as the Penguin. I know people give him like, why didn't you get someone that looked
Colin
like
Farrell,
him?
not Firth.
Oh, my bad, Colin Farrell. Yeah, like why didn't you get someone who like you don't have to put prosthetic? And it's like that's the whole point of acting is you get like lost in the prosthetic and the way they portray that character. And he is such a great actor that like I wouldn't be surprised if he gets nominated for like an award for a supporting actor. So there's my big take.
And the Penguin, we're finally getting a movie where the Penguin is menacing and not a caricature.
Exactly.
All of these villains are menacing.
And not short. Like this, we're getting like a 6'2" penguin.
Yes, that's what we want.
And not like you said, not like a caricature, not Danny DeVito penguin.
Yeah.
But I get it. That was Tim Burton's choice. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this looks tremendous. I think Matt Reeves, I was one of the skeptics. You and I had many a talk before these trailers. I think Matt Reeves has himself something special on his hands.
And
I think this is
the script. I don't know how much of a change that Ben Affleck wrote. Like I think he's still isn't he the main writer, or technically, or he'd be I forget how they do it. Because originally this was supposed to be a Ben Affleck movie. And then it all changed.
It just didn't work out, was my understanding. And
it just didn't work out. Like he was gonna be director,
and then Reeves came
Batman.
in and wrote his own.
Yes, but I still think they're using bits of that original story that Ben Affleck wrote.
Maybe.
I might be wrong, but I feel like that's
I think you might be, but I don't care. It looks great. if whatever the product is, whoever wrote the product, it looks great. I really do hope it's Riddler. I actually am hoping it's Riddler because I think having Riddler and Penguin be menacing will inspire them to transition away from characters like the Joker. And again, with Batman, I want Joker. Don't get me wrong. Like I would like in the next Batman for Joker to appear. Okay, but you can make a movie where Batman has Joker and other people.
Hear me out. How do you feel about Kristen Stewart being the Joker? Because people have thrown that around.
Yeah,
and I want it. I want it now.
I'm all in, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm
like
all in.
What a total one. Like full circle coming back to from Twilight to them as opposites as Joker and Batman.
They would make so much money on that.
Yeah.
It's the best take you've had so far.
Yep. Well, the ending, the final scene in that trailer though is just it gets my blood pressure up
when he's walking from the fire.
Yeah. Yep. And the score that they have,
yes,
is a total like it just reminds me of the Batman the Animated Series score, and I think like the guy that they had, the musician or composer to do that, I have to. Hats off to that guy. He had them taken a little bit from the Batman Animated Series. Like, hey, this nostalgia group of millennials are going to love this stuff. And bam, boom. Over under makes $1 billion.
Under, for sure. COVID's not letting anybody make $1 billion.
That was my thought. But
now, in a no COVID world, it'd make $1 billion.
For sure.
Yeah. Last but not least, we saw the Morbius trailer. What's your quick rating and thoughts of that, Mark?
I am all in 6 out of 6 on this.
No way.
I've been a fan of Morbius. I love Jared Leto as an actor. And this trailer gave me It gave me a good backstory, like for people who don't know Morbius. So it's like, yeah, I like that aspect, or like this version of Morbius that they're doing. And then it gave us drops of like, Spider-Man, Venom, other characters that are going to be in this universe. And then this shot that people are saying, well, they're in the Raimi universe. So it's like, well, are they? Or, are they going to tie? Is Spider-Man No Way Home going to be the divergent that, maybe Tom Holland gets split into two different universes? So that's why he can be in the Sony verse and the MCU at the same time. Who knows? So I'm all for it.
I don't know what Sony's doing. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Sony
Obviously,
has a toy box that has a bunch of unused characters that are probably not going to be in the MCU, and they're like, let's do it. Let's do our own thing. Let's make our money.
I don't know if it'll pan out, but I respect the effort.
Yeah.
And I respect that they got to try. I think they got to try. I think it makes complete sense that they're trying. I just don't, for me, this just doesn't feel exciting at all. And maybe this is how other people feel when I made this comment. When they make these jokes like, oh, I'm Venom, and then they laugh it off. This must be how people feel when they watch Marvel movies or Marvel trailers that just aren't into Marvel as much as you and I are.
Yep.
Because it just wasn't funny. It was just weird. Morbius for me is a 3 out of 6. The only reason I'm not giving it like lower than 3 is because it actually didn't look bad in the regards to like the CGI looks good.
Yep.
Leto's a good actor. The premise is new.
What's
sure.
wild? This dude is over 50 and he looks like a 30-year-old.
He looks tremendous. Yeah, he looks great. He does look like a 30-year-old.
He might actually be a vampire.
He could be.
Yeah.
He looks the part. For
Not
me, I
CGI,
cannot
it's
get
actually
behind.
him.
I cannot get behind him being in the extended universe. I don't understand.
Like in the
I don't
MCU
understand
extended
Morbius
universe,
being
or in he's gonna be probably
the
mostly a Sony
Sony
character.
verse. I don't know why they're leaning into Morbius. I think there's other characters.
And they tie in
yeah.
Michael Keaton's character in that trailer too. So I'm betting
Yeah,
they're
that's
setting
all
up a
weird,
Sinister
too.
Six. So there you go.
Yeah, they have him. They've got the painting
and they
on the wall is
Kraven the Hunter. So
the painting on the wall is the Raimi Spider-Man, and they're referencing Venom. They have Michael Keaton in it, referenced from MCU Vulture. They just got a lot of weird things in it. It's just like
but remember, those Spider-Man movies are technically Sony movies.
Whatever.
So
I don't care.
whatever you see in a Sony movie can show up in another Sony movie.
Thank you.
Probably the only characters you can see. I'm going to explain it to you because apparently you don't understand it. The only character that I believe is contracted with Disney is Spider-Man. So there you go.
Well, I believe it's stupid.
Well, you have your opinions and everyone else has the right opinion. So.
Well, that is our episode. We were a jumbled mess today, Mark. We just caught up with everybody. But I think people enjoyed being with us and hearing our banter and talking about our teen boy years.
Teen boy years. Bunch of hashtags we'll get down the road.
For sure. When are you going to go see Eternals?
I was thinking about this weekend, but I'm going down to a friend of ours who coaches in Iowa. So I'm going to go to one of their games.
I'll be down there with you.
You're coming this Saturday?
Yeah, Zena and I are coming.
Are you guys spending did you guys get a hotel? We're getting into the weeds now.
Welcome to the Mark and Max Plan Their Weekend podcast.
Yeah.
We are going down, but we're not going to stay the night.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll high five you and hang out with you.
All right.
So I guess we're hanging out this weekend. Should be fun.
I guess.
But yeah, I'm going to go see Eternals tomorrow, Wednesday, but this will probably come out Thursday, I would imagine. Yeah. And then we'll review Eternals early next week. It should be great. So make sure you
Disney
go check
Plus
out Eternals.
Was nice, like they were with Black Widow. I'd give them $30 to watch it at home. So.
Well, when they did that, Scarlett Johansson said she'd never work with them again. So
I kind of gotta hope. Okay, there's a theater that's like 14 miles away, but usually they're like 2 weeks to a month behind. But when they had Venom, I wasn't, because they only have showings from Friday to Monday, and the one weekend they had Venom wasn't in town. So I'm gonna hope, cross my fingers, they get it right away, Eternals, so I'll go pay them $10 to go see it. So
yeah, I'm not running to go see Venom right now. Well, thank you, audience, for listening. Wherever you listened, however you listened, thanks for making us part of your podcast experience. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, Twitch. We want you to be engaged with us, be part of our extended universe. What reviews did we get right? What are you excited about? What are you really hating? What opinion of the million opinions Mark had was wrong? Maybe all of them were wrong. We want to know.
Or Max was wrong the whole
No,
time. No.
Don't be ridiculous. Whatever Mark was wrong about, we want to hear you talk about. So
I got a
send us
question,
your
Max.
feedback. Let us know, and make sure you leave us a review too. If you're at this point of the podcast, you're one of the real ones. You're one of the OGs. We'd love it if you leave a review for us. Our 100th episode's coming up. By the time our 100th episode comes out, we will be picking somebody for the gauntlet. So you need to.
Oh, we are. That's what my question was going to be.
That's it. 100th episode. We're announcing it on the 100th episode.
Swag.
Yeah.
Go leave us a review. Get entered. We will sign the gauntlet in our blood.
Yeah. Only a couple more episodes before you get it in there. The gauntlet's coming. We're not writing it in our blood. Don't tell people that, Mark. So, well, we love you guys 3,000, and we will see you guys soon. See ya. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Infinity Bros. Feel free to send listener feedback via email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.